My worst failure is coming in my 70,000 square foot house, no kids, no wife, no nothing. We don't need to talk about what I was doing, but I wasn't protecting her and protecting those vows. So, you know, sometimes when you live that double life, you get caught up in. So I'm not gonna say it was her. It was.
When's the last time you think you've opened up to a woman?
We don't.
Your whole life,
bro. They gonna tell you can't.
Because you know why?
But it's a trap.
Because you know why?
I'm trapped like a motherfucker.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because once you do, whenever something go down, they're gonna throw it back in your face. That's why.
That's real.
That's why. So you can't ever.
That's why you crackers. Your dad left.
Yeah.
Like for a man to really be vulnerable and literally like, please don't take that for granted. Like
a few moments later.
You want your dad to spend time with you, but you don't want to. He don't want to spend time with you.
You know, a lot of times these entertainers and athletes, they seem to have access to some of the best women, at least the most attractive women. And those guys seem to never understand that the majority of times it's simply because you have money. But sometimes it seems as if a couple just is into one another. Maybe one of these guys hit the emotional connection jackpot. And one example is Shaquille O'Neal and Shaunie O'Neal. Now, after all of those years married and all of those children, Shaq admitted that he was the reason that the relationship ended. You know, just like we discussed earlier with Jermaine Dupri, for some strange reason, these guys can't keep their wee-wee in their pants, even when they have so much at risk. But now, Shaq is coming to find out that he was not the problem at all. His ex-wife, Shaunie, admitted in her new book that she never even loved the guy, which throws him in the same barrel with all the other entertainers and athletes whose wives only love them for the money. We tell you men all the time, in most cases, a woman doesn't love you, she loves what you do for her. And Shaquille O'Neal is no different.
My worst failure is coming in my 70,000 square foot house, no kids, no wife, no nothing. I kept most of the rooms dark. On my really sad days, I go look at the babies' rooms. And then I go in the gym and shoot 1 or 2 baskets and play. I'm not a basketball player anymore. And I go in the garage and look at all the cars that I'm not driving.
Wow.
Then I go back to the kitchen and watch my movies. When you sit back and look, you realize you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. And I'm programmed, being raised by an Army drill sergeant, never to make the same mistake twice. So I always try to learn from my mistake.
Now, when you look at these situations, men have to understand that that is a part of relationships. It's par for the course. The same way you want the woman to be beautiful, you want the woman to be desirable, you want the woman to be an arm candy for the world and eye candy for you, you want the woman to be there. By the same token, the woman wants you to be in a position where you can provide a certain lifestyle. And as she watches your lifestyle, she sees that she wants to be a part of that lifestyle. So I'm not saying a woman shouldn't want a man who is making decent money. I'm saying that probably shouldn't be all. But I'm not saying a woman shouldn't want a man who is making decent money. I'm saying that probably shouldn't be all. But if you're a man who's full of yourself and you believe that because you attained a certain level of success, that a woman must really be into you, 9 times out of 10, you have another thing coming because it's just not the truth. Now, when you look back at some of the situations and, you know, you take this man admitting that, well, you know, it was on me and I did this and, you know, and I treated it this way and, you know, I wasn't the man I was supposed to be and all of that. And, you know, the man took responsibility. He showed some accountability for his past actions. But let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what you would have done. If the woman was never really into you and it was just about the lifestyle, eventually the lifestyle desire dies because the woman starts to look at the life, especially if you continue to build more and more and more success. 10 years, 15 years in, she's like, well, I can still maintain the lifestyle if I divorce the guy.
And be careful with women, okay? They're dream killers.
Ooh.
You start messing with little girls, they're dream killers. Now, a lot of people listen to that and go, oh, John, why you saying that? Guess what? If I was talking to a girl, I would tell her to stay away from boys, because boys are dream killers.
I heard that.
It works both ways. You got to stay focused is the point. That ain't saying you can have a little girlfriend, but don't get out of control. You got to be selfish. It's all about what it is you're trying to do in that path. If you get distracted, you're done. You can't get distracted.
Because I'm going to get this amount of alimony, and I'm going to have this amount of property, and I'm going to have this, and I'm going to have the kids, and I'm going to get child support. I'm going to be doing all of these things. And especially if she figures out a way to take the name that you have now blessed her with and become someone based on that name, let's be honest. What was Shaunie's name before it was O'Neal? I have no idea. I wouldn't have been able to pick her out of a lineup. But right now, she has name recognition. And that name recognition is O'Neal. So you men must understand that when you put yourself in a situation, man, you have to be willing to do the things that are necessary to make a situation work on your end. You have to be willing to do those things. Because the bottom line is, even if the situation doesn't work, you should be able to walk away from it and say, hey, man, I did everything I could. This shit is on her. She ruined this. She jacked this up. Or you end up like Shaq spending all of these years being in public, confessing that, well, I did this and I did that. Well, guess what? If the woman ain't really into you, then there's going to be a disconnect. Now, you may say, well, they had all of these children together. Hey, listen, man, let me tell you something. People have children together from a one-night stand. Having children together means nothing. That's what people do when they live in the same house together. Some children are going to come after a certain period of time, maybe even from the beginning. That's nothing. A woman who's into you will have your kids because she wants to have your kids. A woman who's not into you will have your kids because she wants to be in your pocket. And she will be in your pocket. And a lot of times, man, and this is a little bit off topic, just a little bit, but a lot of times you'll meet a woman and she'll have kids and then she'll have your kids so you can be the one to provide enough revenue to take care of all of the kids. And this happens all of the time. And many guys are caught up in that.
Any women listening right now, if you got a man that vents to you, understand that is one of the biggest forms of love that he can show you. Like, for a man to really be vulnerable and literally, like, please don't take that for granted. Like, don't disregard his feelings. Don't make facial expressions. If you disagree, when he's venting to you, it's not for you to always understand. It's for you just to be in the moment with him.
What you have in this situation with Shaunie and Shaq is a man who dedicated himself to being a great father, to being a great husband. And I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't take as much credit from a man for being a good husband just because, you know, he had some affairs and he had some side chicks and all that. I don't take as much credit from a guy. I take credit from him for not being honest enough to admit and accept the fact to himself before even the woman that he didn't want to be with one woman. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, then you should let a woman know that from the beginning. There's no way a man should ever be in a situation where he marries a woman and he wants other women and the woman doesn't know it. That's never going to turn out the way it's supposed to turn out. So I say this to y'all. When you're in a situation, and some of you guys are in a situation with women right now, you got to remember this. If the woman wasn't with you from the time you got on, at least partially, she's with you because of who you are. So let's break it down by percentages so it'll be easier for everybody to understand. We have 100%. If 50% of the reason she's with you is because of who you are, then it's only possible that 50% can be she's with you because she actually likes you. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like those odds. So you have to really understand. You have to figure out a way to make a woman contribute to the things you have going on in your life so you can see that she's with you for more than just who you are. So you look at it like this. When a woman is with you for the name, let's say 50% is the name. 20% is the 20 to 25% is the finance. Let's say 25%. That means only 25% of the desire she has to be with you is because she likes you. And this is what Shaq is finding out. And this is probably part of the reason that Shaq is so upset and, you know, lashing out in the media, you know, at Shannon Sharpe the way he is. Shannon Sharpe did go sideways a little bit. He's turned into just just his energy is starting to belie itself. He's starting to, do some things and say some things, and we'll talk about that some other time. Maybe we'll do a show about that because I'm really starting to get irritated. I'm really starting to be a little bit agitated by these grown men, and we ain't talking about no young men. We ain't talking about no millennials or no Generation Z. We talking about some OGs, man. We talking about Shaq and Shannon Sharp. These guys sitting around here, man, with their Twitter fingers, man, debating and arguing online like girls. But that's neither here nor there. In this situation, you have to understand that when a man finds this out, you have two things to do. You can say, okay, well, let me change the way that I be in public speaking about this broad and all of this, since, here's the thing about tell-all books. You're going to tell all, and somebody's going to get the shock of their lives, and you're going to ruin a relationship. And what she's done is ruin this relationship. Yeah, she got a new husband now, Pastor, whatever his name is. But that boy, he ain't Shaq. He ain't gonna have the name recognition. He ain't gonna get to the money. And also, he's not those children's father. And so now, when a woman creates a negative energy like this with the father of her children, if you're her husband, your ass need to be looking at her sideways too. Because now she put the book out after you done wifed her up. So this your wife talking about her own baby daddy like this. Listen, man, beware of who you have around you. Because sometimes you'll think you have something and you won't even be able to tell that it's not what it is. Because when a woman wants to convince you of something that's not true, she has very beguiling ways to convince you. And only the most blessed of us, only the most spiritually astute of us, only the most, principle intact of us would be able to see through it. And no professional athlete at all is equipped with those qualities and those character traits. This woman right here has already told you professional athletes are dumb. And after she said this, a professional athlete still put a baby in her.
The athletes, none of them use condoms really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, you could just fuck an athlete. They're really dumb.
And not just that, here's Shaq on a date with her as well. You see what I mean? So this isn't for, anyone who's already, if you've done this already and been used and abused and taken advantage of, you already understand this. This is for you guys who haven't done this yet. Some of you young athletes who listen to me, some of you young entertainers, some of you young businessmen. Listen, I want y'all to understand, man, you got to guard yourself. You got to guard your wealth, because if you don't, you're not going to be guarding your health. And I advise you to do this. And always know that any woman who met you after the fame, notoriety, success, especially if you're recognizable, any woman who met you after that point is partially with you because of who you are. That's not bad. That's not good. That's just true. Now you have two choices. You can accept that, compartmentalize that, and make sure that you keep that in mind when you interact with the world at large. Or you can sit and cry like a baby, give everything away, go back to who you were, get you a regular job, and give up everything. If that's your choice. Me? Hey man, I just roll with the punches, dog. You know what I'm saying? I roll with the punches. I know it's a part of the equation and part of the situation. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys know it as well, so you won't end up in a situation with a woman who all of these years later, now that you've taken care of for all these years and given her this name to build on, and she comes out and says, I don't know if I ever loved this guy. Almost every man should be thinking that to some respect. Does she really love you? Or does she love what you do for her? Does she love how you make her feel? Ask yourself. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. Subscribe for more videos. And remember, alpha's up, beta's down. Peace.